Axons Unleashed.
G'day ladies and gents, Robbie Turner's my name. Welcome to another episode of Axons Unleashed. Jesus, Daniel, we were just in here yesterday with the amazing Doug Sheridan. Now we've got another back-to-back podcast. That probably doesn't mean anything to you. I'm sure you don't listen to my podcast back-to-back. But we've got another cracking young bloke in here today by the name of Louis Cleaver. Full disclosure, Louis is a client of Axon, but he's also a veteran from the Army who's been able to successfully transition. And again, you guys know how these podcasts go, the story of him, why he joined, what he did, when he eventually got out, what was his transition, etc., and what he's doing now will absolutely rip the guts out of it. So Louis Cleaver, welcome to Axons Unleashed, mate.
Thanks, mate. No,
good on you.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here, man. Can't believe it.
Yeah. Tell us what you were saying before. You've been you just finished building your first house with us, right?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that down the track for sure.
Yeah.
But you've been such a avid follower of the brand and everything, and you walked into Axon HQ, and what were you saying before?
Yeah, it was a weird sensation. It was almost like I guess the best way I can describe it is sort of starstruck. Yeah, because
I've been described many things, and that should not be one of them.
No, it was just it was really cool because I think the first time I sort of had anything to do with Axon was back in 2017. So a little bit keep an eye on the place, and then obviously your social media presence has really blown up since then.
Yeah.
And since becoming a client, man, I've been watching videos here and there and stuff like that. So it's just a bit of a surreal moment coming in and then seeing that and going, oh wow, like I'm here, man. Like it's a real place, and
good stuff. Cool. Jesus, 2017, that would be classified as an OG for sure. Well, the business only started in 2017, and there was, probably only 15 or 20 clients who we even spoke to back then. As every new business starts to get some traction, etc. So you've how are you not sick of my voice by now? Then, some 7.5 years later.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good.
No, but that aside, and certainly the wonderful Caitlin, who helped you build your house, and James, who helped you find the house after I put the plan together as your coach. So I know we're going to have a beautiful dinner out with them tonight, and you would have probably already seen the stories and whatever else Caitlin posts on her crazy socials by the time this podcast drops. But when you see that and you're like, oh, who's Caitlin having bloody dinner with that night? I'm like, oh, now I'm listening to the podcast 2 weeks later. So here we are. Take us back to the start, mate. As always, where'd you grow up? And ultimately, sort of what led you to start, joining the Defence Force?
Yeah. Okay. So I grew up in Tassie. I was actually born in Queensland, in Gladstone. But
welcome back.
Yeah. Thanks. That's right. But just due to my parents, what they were doing at the time, where they were working, it moved them to Tassie. So I grew up there. That's where all my memories are and where my heart is and all that. So I love the place. I sort of was playing rugby in my teen years and stuff like that, and I guess it's sort of that period of time there. I've got to sort of pull my socks up and have a think about what I'm going to do. And I wasn't really doing too much. I worked at a Video Easy back when they were a thing.
Yeah, that's right. Blockbuster and Video Easy going head to head with each other.
Yeah, man.
Now we got Netflix and Stan.
Yeah,
totally different, but exactly the same.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And I was just hanging out with my mates and just playing rugby, and I was doing that. And I joined the Army Reserves. I signed up in 2005. And I did that for a couple of years. Did a trip over to Solomon Islands.
What corps was it down in? Was infantry down in Tassie?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they had 2 companies, infantry. Yeah, Chocos. Yeah.
Stand fast and shout out to all the bloody Army Reserve people down in Tassie.
No, I had a great time there, and the advantage of doing sort of chock time like that is you do get a lot of seniors coming through, and you're a small team. And especially, being a Tasmanian chock unit, you get these senior members coming through from obviously the wider ARA, and they bring their experience and their passion through, and they really do give you a unique sort of level of training that you wouldn't really get in a battalion sort of thing. So
one thing I've observed about Tassie, if I can jump in quickly, is that what you said before, that's where your heart is.
Yeah.
People love the fact that they're from Tassie. And if when they've sort of, might do 20 years in the military and then they want to give back and do some chock time or whatever, they love being back home, but then they can also sort of dip their nose back in the trough. So I'm just visualizing what you're talking about now. It's just, it will be such a soulful experience having these seniors come back, as you've just describing there, to teach you young whippersnappers that are doing a bit of chock time before you go and play first grade.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. But obviously, I couldn't do that forever. I didn't have a, alternate or full-time work employment and sort of thing. So, it was time to make a move. I signed up to join the ARA, and I think it was 2008 in April. I went from Tassie in winter time up to Darwin, 7th Battalion, in like build-up season.
You can't stretch Australia out any further.
No, or me at
down
the
the
time,
south until the top. You're like, oh, sell these fucking jumpers I brought up with me. You won't need them again.
No, that's right. So that was pretty good. But like any military experience, you fit in pretty quick. I had the luxury of going up with a couple of mates from the Tassie regiment at the time, the Chocos, who signed on for full time. And we all sort of went up together. So I had a pretty tight group of mates when I got up there. And as you do, mate, you fit in and you make heaps of good mates while you're up there and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Did you, question of fact, did you go through Kapuka, like through the normal stuff there? Or you'd had some of your chock time sort of was counted towards it? No.
Yeah. So we had the warrant officer there. He was a CSM for 1RAR, and he came down and basically they'll assess you. There'll be a set of criteria and stuff like that. You go out for a week, and if you get the ticks in the box, you can go straight to the battalion. And then based on that and his personal opinion, if not, then it's Singo.
Yeah, right, so, straight to Singo.
Yeah. So
I take it you got to bypass Singo.
Yeah.
Oh, it's almost it's a rite of passage for those that wear the Skippy badge.
It is.
And how was that taken when you got? Did people know about that? I would have fucking kept that on the DL.
I kept it so fucking quiet, but it eventually came out. But it came out that much later down the track. That I sort of
didn't matter.
No, exactly right.
You cheeky motherfucker, you got through there. We would have fucking caned you if we knew that.
100%. Yeah, it's exactly right. So we were quiet. It was the same with the other three mates that I was there with as well, and we're just like, not a fucking word.
Fucking, this is mutual destruction
100%.
for all of us if this fucking comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. But it also drove you. It definitely drove you to be your absolute best once you got to the battalion as well. Because you're there, and you did take the cheeky route. So fucking earn it. Be better than your peers. You had to be.
So, hey, I didn't make the policy.
Yeah.
Fucking go complain to Angus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I reckon his inbox will be full at the moment.
It would be. Yes. Yeah. Shout out to you, Angus. I know you're always watching, brother.
Yeah. So from there, it was at 2008. A bit over 12 months, about 18 months later. The trip was coming up to Afghanistan. And it was sort of a weird time. It hit our company to go. I was in Charlie Company at the time. It hit Bravo Company to go, but they were looking for a platoon from Charlie Company. They were going to draw a platoon from them for the Rockall. So to go in there while everyone was rotating through and they leave out. And it was one of those times, and I guess anyone who has been a battalion when a trip comes up, and it can get very competitive for people trying to go and everything like that. So, there's a meal skills competition at the time, and, we were looking at,
thrusting going on left, right and centre. Not that thrusting you're speaking about, but those that know the term thrusting and know what I mean.
Yeah. So it was pretty funny. And there's two occasions where I've had to chong off for something, and they've been big chong offs, man.
Right.
Yeah. So they were just like, okay, I just got a driver ticket for 113 AS4, and they were looking for anyone with driver tickets that could do a crash course in Bushmasters, and basically that's your ticket over on the trip. So I was like, okay, this could be the way to go in, and it was basically down to me and one other bloke there, and we're just like, all right, well the platoon sergeant there is like, you can chong off for it, which is an honourable tradition that it's best of one, rock, paper, scissors, and winner takes all.
Best of one.
Yeah. One and done, mate, and it's decided.
But
so
there's many of you have heard me use the term sliding door moment.
Yeah.
There it was right there.
Yeah.
Which way do you go in?
Oh, 100%. So there it was, and, we had the better half of three platoons around us, just going like, this is nuts. One of these guys, this is for the trip, basically.
Right, so it was done in front of
in front of a crowd,
roaring crowd,
yeah. And they're screaming out
Gladiator,
the amount of money that you're gonna, you're gonna earn over there, and how high the stakes are and everything like that. We did it, and I lost.
Wowzers! That wasn't the ending I was thinking about. Anyway, that's another version of Axon's Unleashed. See you later.
No.
Wah, 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 wah. Here we go. Yes. I promise there's something good on this podcast. It fucking better be, because I'm here on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. But what had happened is old mate had lost his license, his civi driver license 2 weeks later, and got booted off the trip. So
And here's the comeback.
yeah, still didn't get it.
Oh.
They put a team together for
You must have been
the,
on a roller coaster. In all seriousness, I know what it's like to mentally
Yeah.
prepare for trips, etc. You like behind the scenes, you're like fucking on again,
Yeah.
off again.
Yeah.
Is this happening? Please, I won't interrupt you anymore. Go ahead.
No, all good, man, all good. They put a team together for the Dog Cup. So there was a meal skills competition to see who the candidates would go away to the Dog Cup. And I managed to get into the Dog Cup. I completed that, and then afterwards, I got a spot, a seat on, basically. Yeah, I think 2 guys pulled off, and they're just like, yeah. So whoever they're looking for to fill seats will come from the team that went away. So, yeah, I got a trip.
Yeah. And so it should, like, to be
Yeah.
selected in the Duke of Gloucester Cup anyway, as
Yeah.
like, the section that's going to represent, your unit says a lot about you in the first instance. Like,
Yeah,
the sort of,
100%.
the tip of the spear of the unit anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then if you were then selected from being the best performers out of that 7, 8, 9 blokes, then
Yeah.
you're doing something right, mate, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, massive deal. Obviously a hell of an experience, man. Yeah, flying in.
What year was it again?
That
It would
was
have been start of 09 then, did I
yeah.
hear
It
you
was.
say?
It was like it was the 1st of January 09 when we landed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was. I didn't go home for Christmas that year. Because
was
of all
there.
the lead up and everything like that.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah,
Oh, no shit.
I
Yeah, okay.
rotated. I just finished my time down at Duntroon, so I was there 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
Got promoted in the Duntroon officers mess literally fucking like 1st of December 08.
Yeah.
And then fucking boom, I was like 15th of January 09. I was over in Kandahar working in the plan cell for SOTG.
Cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we were, did
Yeah.
the first 5, 6, 7 months over there. So,
Yeah. There
it
you
was
go.
a crazy time over there.
Yeah.
At that
100%.
stage.
Yeah.
It has certainly ramped up from my first trip back in 05. But
Yeah.
that's the evolution of war, and it's certainly got even worse.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Highlights and lowlights from being over there you want to share?
Difficult, man. The highlights. It was just wild, man. It was. I was obviously really young at the time. I think I was 20. I hadn't really been overseas, like even on a holiday before. The culture shock was.
And Tassie
nuts.
doesn't count.
Yeah, that's right. Just you ask the rest of Australia, mate. I disagree with it, but yeah,
Yes, I know.
yeah. It was just wild. Like the culture shock was intense, and trying to just wrap your head around their culture, which was so important because you were embedded with them in their teams and everything like that, and you had to understand them and the way that they did things and everything like that. And absolutely, the highlights. Just the time I spent with mates and there under duress created some very, very strong bonds. And the countryside itself over there is absolutely stellar,
Isn't
man.
it
It's
amazing?
It's unreal. Yeah.
Place you'd want to go back to,
Yeah.
but we're not.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a place like no other. I remember in Warry time for me, helmets on. So we landed at the first C-17 to ever land on the airstrip at TK, August 05. Fucking ramp went down, and I just looked at the fucking soaring mountains and went, "What the fuck is this place?"
Yeah.
Unbelievable, hey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
unreal.
yeah, welcome home.
Yeah.
There's your tent over there. There's no protected accommodation yet.
Nah.
You guys are sleeping in tents.
Shit, man. Yeah.
There's a fucking experience for you while you're fucking sound asleep most nights and there's rockets coming in.
Yeah.
Grab your
Oh,
shit
yeah.
as soon as you can and try and fucking find a concrete bunker before
Yeah.
one hits you. Don't
Yeah.
recommend it, but yeah,
No.
you grow some resilience pretty quickly when that's
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
night after night.
I remember this was in TK, hit the road, and I had a mate walking beside that road when it hit. The sirens and that had gone off. It was about the third rocket that came in, and we were on to the bunker, and we're just, hanging around and talking shit and that. And we're just like, oh, we're missing someone. I'm just like, oh, yeah, no, he's gone to the shower.
Oh, Jono's gone to the shower.
Yeah, 100%. And he's come back in, and he was just like fucking dead quiet, man, and not saying or looking at anyone and stuff like that. He's coming, he's in his thongs, he's in his shorts, he's got his towel over his shoulder and stuff like that. I'm like, you're right, mate. Did you see where that second rocket came in? Because it was pretty close. And he hit the road as I was walking by.
Shit.
I was like,
right.
are you okay, man?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
I'm
I
here.
think I just had some quiet time for a bit. It was all right. So
Yeah, I bet.
yeah, it was.
When did you end up coming home?
Yeah, I came home. Okay, so I was due to come home after 3 months, and we were short a couple in the omelette teams, the liaison teams that we had out in the different areas and stuff like that. And there was myself, a Lance Corporal and Sergeant that got elected to stay behind. So instead of going home, I went out and joined one of those teams. Yeah. So I spent another 4 months in there. So it was about 7.5 months in total before I come home.
Shit, yeah. So being in TK is one thing, but then being out on one of the FOBs is a totally different kettle of fish.
And that's when you've
got tighter confinement. You've got less amenities. You've got more risk.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
You're isolated.
Yeah. You're living with the ANA and you're working with them. Yeah. And it was that was
There's quite a few acronyms in this one too. He's like, fuck that. Last podcast with you blokes talking SOCOM stuff, which is so acronym heavy.
Oh, that would have been nuts.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But now even you talking about omelettes, talking about ANAs. Yeah, there's no bacon and cheese in those omelettes just before you're fucking wondering anyway. And we've got a little side note. We've got a little competition because there's my wife and a bunch of other civvies that work in the business and they love acronyms.
Sure.
Like, what would HRT be? One of the guys is like, hormone replacement therapy, and obviously it's not. So we come up with our own bloody our own answers to the military jargon and acronyms. So it's one of those things, and you're ripping them off beautifully, mate. I'm loving it.
Yeah. Well, it's so weird because there's so much of my vocabulary I've had to change since I left, and working in a completely different industry, and I'll probably touch on that more.
We will definitely
100%, man.
This is setting the scene for it perfectly, Louis.
Yeah.
I'm loving it, mate.
No, good, man.
What was last 3 months like then?
Yeah, okay. Massive eye opener. So, it had been a sort of quiet trip up until that point in time. It was still outside of fighting season as well. And the most that really had to deal with is some IEDs and some rockets coming in. It just my first day out there and our first patrol, our first mission sort of thing. We'd patrolled through, meet one of the elders and gather some intel there and cruise along and sort of do clearance. And we'd picked up a couple of guys that had sort of tested positive for explosive substances. So we got them their mobiles and so forth and brought them back in. And they were going to get flown out for the investigation to take place. And there was a shipping container, and there's two of these guys we picked up, and they're inside the shipping container. There's two ANA, the Afghan National Army members outside of that container, and I think it wasn't that long after they were issued like M16s. They had like NATO weaponry, and one of them is sort of there, and he's sort of playing around with his rifle. I'm standing just outside of this container with the medic. And we were sort of watching the ANA who were watching the guys in the container. So he's playing with his rifle and he discharged a round. And it was really weird. My memory of this is it's so weird because for some reason I can remember almost like white confetti. I don't know why, but anyway, he'd shot his mate in the back and it was weird, man. It was sort of like a cowboy death out of the movies or something like that. He just rolled onto his knees or just dropped onto his knees and then just like flat onto his face. And the medic's standing there and he's like, fuck, I'm going to go prep the table. The ANA guy that shot his mate just put his rifle down and ran. And then I'm standing there, there's poor mate on the ground and he's looking at me. So I can see the light in his eyes. I'm like, you're still alive, okay?
Good.
I can see the rifle there and there's two guys in the container.
So you're two pucks in the container.
Yeah, man. And I'm waiting for one of them to run for that rifle. So I'm like, mate in the ground's going to have to wait for me, like QDE, and you do all these quick decision exercises all the time. And I'm like, I'm sitting in one, I'm just like,
what do you do?
Go, Ray, just keep my boot on the rifle and just keep an eye on the guys in the container. And I'm sure that it happened pretty quick. And there's half a dozen ANA guys came around. I'm just pointing to the guy on the ground and they're just, pointing over, doctor. They knew what was going on. And I got one of them, one of the guys there, he spoke some broken English. And I'm like, just grab this rifle, man, get rid of it. So he got rid of it. And the other guys just picked this poor bastard up and just dragged him over to the medic tent and stuff like that and had a look at him. So it turned out that the round went in through his shoulder blade. I think it like ricocheted and come out through his neck, but missed anything vital. So he was all right.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
positive ending to that.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know where it's a funny story, or a sad story. It's certainly a bizarre story.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I guess that was my omelette experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so
that's gold.
a few more months of shenanigans, mate, and I was back home.
What was that feeling like? Because by your own admission, like this was your first big adult adventure sort of thing. That's what I got from you. And then you're like, all right, I'm home. I'm back in fucking normality. But when you spend so long over there, that becomes your normality. Please go. Tell us about that.
So you're just dealing with the fact that you have the mentality of being in a threat environment all the time, but you're not in a threat environment all the time. And it was hard, man. Like no one knew what they were going through. And the resources for help were there, but like there was no rest. We got home, I think we had just under 2 weeks off, and then straight away it's like, nah, you're off on sub 1. And then you're doing
right. Another demanding activity.
Yeah, 100%. So it wasn't sub 1. It was you went through, you did your course for corporal.
Yep.
For section commander, and then you went and did your sub 1. And we did those back to back.
Sub 4 or sub 3 or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
The preliminary one.
Yeah. It was absolutely brutal. We were out there doing this, man, and there are guys out there, and like I was feeling it. But there were guys out there that went through some pretty bad stuff, and they were cooked. They were absolutely cooked, and
yet forced to go on this promotion course.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
you know, putting the balance whether they pass or fail. Like imagine failing a subject course.
Yeah,
because you're cooked, not because you're a shit operator, because you're cooked.
Yeah,
because you were told to go on it because there's some fucking quota that needs to be filled.
Yeah.
Like it's just rubbish.
Yeah,
please go. Yeah.
You're right, mate. And it's I guess the only good thing is they threw us all on it, so. You know, we kept ourselves together. We at least had that support of all your mates there who all sort of didn't really understand what we're all going through, but we all know that we're all going through it. So, I guess the mentality of the unit at the time, like they just didn't give a shit, man. They didn't. It was, find yourselves lucky that you went and you got a trip. Not everyone did, and it's back to work sort of thing.
Fucking wrong attitude.
Man. Fucking rough. Yeah, it was. Look, anyway.
I know, can I just butt in for a second?
Go for it.
I know there are going to be hundreds of people listening to this podcast nodding their head going, oh, yeah, that fucking happened to me.
Yeah.
I can relate to what he's talking about so much.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's so sad to know. I've known about it for ages, but just to hear it now, someone I've known so well like you, I'm sad to know that you went through that as well.
Yeah. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How'd the course end up?
Yeah. We got through it. It's a sub 4. Yeah. They smash you. You do it. It's done. And then on to sub 1. Sub 1 was because we were out of the field now.
So now you're not surrounded by infantrymen. It's an all-core environment.
It is,
including the females
and blokes. Blokes have access to some time off.
Yes, good.
Which is good and bad because then, we're out, we're drinking and stuff like that. And as we know, man, it can be the catalyst for, some...
being more cooked.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But, again, we just looked after it. I think a few guys ended up going home. I think...
Was it done at the local JLTC or did you come down here to Canungra or where was the sub 1? Because it is a very all-core environment.
Yeah, no, that was right. It was in just outside of Adelaide. I can't even remember what it is now. It's a Choco University or something like that.
Okay.
Down in Adelaide there somewhere. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's where it was done.
And did they fly people in from all around the country?
Yeah. Everyone flew in. That was the centre where they ran the course out of. So, yeah. So that was...
It's funny, like one of my sub 1s I remember, it was my sub 1 for sergeant. I was a drill instructor down at Kapuka.
Yeah.
So I'm like fucking boom, 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 had my shit together, squared away, no dramas.
Oh, yeah.
And in my section, there was an amazing young lady who's a pay clerk.
Yeah.
She hadn't even done a first parade for fucking 5 years. And I'm out there fucking trying to teach her colour drill.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
So when I'm talking about the all-core environment, that's the scope of stuff. And,
Yeah, you've got grunts and cav and stuff like that helping guys get through all their weapon drills and stuff like that, and vice versa, helping us put a friggin' minute together. Mm-hmm. It is. It's
Did you feel like you had another group of mates across the military though, like a new cohort of friends. Like, oh, we were on that sub one together.
Yeah.
It's like, you got that little, and hopefully 100%. You may have ran into a couple of them, around the traps in the years following.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Not a whole heap to say about that, mate. It's sort of, we got through the courses and stuff like that, and I think everyone dealt with what they needed to deal with, and I think the sad and the shitty thing about it is you get to a point where you can sustain yourself, but you're not fully healed. You've just figured out a way to just crack on, sort of thing. Yeah, and
treading water.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
You can't do that forever.
No, that is exactly right. Yeah. It all catches up or it manifests in one way or another. Yeah, absolutely.
Even if you find a friend called Wilson. Yeah. It's still fucking hard to tread water, right?
Yeah.
Wilson! Wilson's made a bloody appearance on the podcast, Daniel, finally.
Yeah.
Where'd you go after that?
Yeah, okay. So back to the unit, promoted Lance Corporal, 12 months.
How was that? Good?
Yeah, it was good. It's sort of half cool and half I've just been stabbed. So
yeah,
because it's that first big step. It's extra $20 a week, and your responsibilities sort of go right up.
Yeah,
but that's the way it goes. That's fine. That was pretty good. And 12 months later, another trip was coming up, and that Bushmaster ticket I had in my back pocket there, helped me out again. Yeah, so it was another trip that come up in support.
No mung off for this one?
No, straight in. I had my boss had basically still a really, really good mate of mine.
I love it when people say that.
Yeah,
the boss of mine is a fucking good mate of mine. Yeah. I've got heaps of blokes that were my bosses at the time, which I'm really, really proud that I call mates now.
100%.
Yeah, so good.
Without a doubt, it's golden. But he'd handpicked me straight away. Yeah. He's like, yeah, you're going on this one. And I'm, obviously couldn't.
What year are we talking about now?
Okay, so this was 2009, 10, 2000. It would have been 2010. Yeah.
Okay, so you're back reasonably soon afterwards.
Yeah, just before mid 2010.
Right.
Yeah, it was
so
almost.
You didn't have a long break back then.
No,
your
it wasn't.
Tempo was quite high.
It was 12 months from the day that I landed back in country to the day that I left on this trip.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's a short time.
Yeah, it was. But I got the golden ticket, man. It was in support of SOCOM, so
yeah, great.
Super happy with that. Or SOTG, sorry. I was absolutely stoked, and it was a really good experience because I wasn't in that same environment that I was sort of the first time around, and I was working with these guys that throughout the rest of the military we just absolutely idolise. Because that's the pinnacle, man.
How good's being behind the SOTG wall?
Right.
Good food in the mess.
Oh,
everything. I remember it. Wow.
Prawns and lobster. Like, it's real.
It is really real.
Yeah.
That is not rumours. That is fucking real.
So I guess it was sort of a healing experience too. So a lot of the things that it sort of plagued my mind from the first time around and stuff like that, and just meeting and talking with these guys and working with them and stuff like that. Just even in just the capacity that I did. I don't know, it was sort of like it was all right. Like it was all good, the things that I was stressing about or the decisions that I made, was that right or was I a coward? These sorts of things. Like it was all okay. There was nothing to be ashamed of or anything like that. I left that trip, and after spending time with those guys, I can look back at my first experience and go, no, you did good.
Yeah, good on you, mate. It's just a different level of focus, a different level of professionalism, a different level of applying your craft.
100%.
Because everyone's just so much more well trained.
Yeah,
obviously we've got access to different assets, access to different weaponry.
Yeah.
Types of missions are different. Durations of missions are different.
Yeah.
And then the food's better when you come back. So all that stuff. Yeah.
It was just it was. They were so professional and so practical about the way they went about everything. And it was just a different environment. It was awesome. Got back from that one, and definitely was a lot easier after that one. Got promoted again.
I was going to say, where's your next hook?
There it was.
Yeah. Good.
It was really cool. They wanted to do it in country, but the CEO said, no, we're doing that when you get to Yeah. But that was really cool. That was a lot more pride with that one, I guess. And then I went straight to DFSW platoon.
Yeah, good.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had an absolutely amazing, 3 years with those guys. That was cool. That was really cool.
Now you've got to get an understanding of the joint fires picture that you fit into.
100%.
There's mortars happening. There's DFSW happening. There might be a bit of arty happening. Might be a bit of JTAC with the CAS, and you're all playing your part. You're marking targets. You're suppressing fire. You're doing all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Imagine if I was a fucking civvy sitting here. You'd be like, what the fuck's that mean? But luckily I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, it's to go to support company and just start to get a bit more broader awareness about the contribution you're making, noting that you've been that dude on the ground for many years beforehand.
Yeah.
No doubt you would have loved it.
Oh, yeah, it was absolutely going. So I had an absolute ball there. It came around to about 2013, and it came to make a decision. Is this the career that I'm sticking with now? Or, do I want to do something else? And I think, discharging from the military altogether I didn't feel was an option. It's always an option, but it wasn't the option for me. With few transferable skills, it was too high a risk for me. And at that period of time, the relationship that I was in, I had more than just myself to look out for. So that wasn't going to happen. So I sort of explored the trades within, within defence and everything like that, and sort of settled on fitter armourer. I just felt like that was just had the broadest range of the skill sets and everything like that.
Good on you, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? You've paid your dues. You've done your time.
Yeah.
You've been on the front line. You fucking don't owe anyone anything.
Yeah.
Go get yourself an awesome trade that you can then take into. And I can't wait till you share what you're doing now with the listeners.
Yeah.
All three of you.
Yeah. It'll start to speed up. Yeah.
No. I'm not saying I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know part of your story, which is, just it's got to be a really great ending. So, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
What was that like then, just sort of literally switching your brain from mission-focused army tactical stuff to right, measure twice, cut once sort of stuff?
Yeah. Well, I had spent so much time fucking breaking shit, man, that it was almost like, this is my karma coming back now. Now you need to learn how to fix it all. So, and I didn't know which end of the screwdriver to use. I'm going to be honest, man, when I got down to trade school. So it was it was a massive learning curve for me. And it was an interesting position to be in, because they still expect you to be an NCO, but they often expect you to just be a student too. So you're figuring out where that line is.
I was going to ask, you would have been down there as a mature age tradie, Appy.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by, other youngsters. Do you like taking on that mentorship role? Be that perceived or real or allocated or just there because you're older?
It is. Look, for anyone who's keen and passionate, yeah, absolutely. Teaching, mentoring, or anything like that, yeah, you get all the time in the world for it. It is rewarding. Yeah.
Good on you, mate. Me too.
Yeah.
It's something that lights a fire in my belly, where there is a skill that and there's other people around you that are like, teach me more about that. I'm like, right, fucking sit down.
Bring it in.
Sit down, fella. And But ultimately you would agree the test of your knowledge of a skill is whether you can impart it to someone else.
Yeah.
And then they can undertake it to the same level.
Yeah, I have heard you haven't mastered a craft until you're able to teach it. So, yeah.
That's
100%.
what I meant. He just said it better than me. That's what I was saying.
No, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, absolutely. So that was, it was a thing down there at ACME. So 2 years down at trade school, and then wrapped up there. It's another 12 months of on-the-job training. So I went from Ori Wodonga for the couple of years at the trade school there, and then back out to Adelaide. I did 12 months on-the-job training. So I just worked at a bunch of different civilian workshops and stuff like that. Just
that would have been
doing
good.
trade stuff. It was good. I loved it.
They would have loved your story.
Yeah.
Parts of your background. I mean, like, how did you get here?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And that's often the looks I would get. They're like, should you be here?
Yeah. You did what?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And hopefully that made you feel proud, make you feel felt valued, made you feel like all those times and those hard yards that you did have to spend back then, that it was appreciated by someone. And
Yeah, it was. And I guess it was my first moment of realisation of that. If this is not, what I've done isn't exactly normal. And certain people are, interested to know about that. So, I mean, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
What unit did you end up landing at as a fully qualified fitter armourer then?
Awesome. I wound up at a CISB, which I think they called themselves at the time, 1 Transport Squadron. And I did 12 months there, and I was hunting tanks, basically. I knew that this wasn't going to be forever for me either. This was always a means for an ends of my military career. And in order to be able to put the best foot forward, I need to work on the most complicated equipment that I can find.
Yeah.
And I just sort of determined that the tanks were that, you know.
Yeah, because a fit of armour is like all things weaponry.
And you do everything from stripping the turret down to every last bolt.
Correct. So from artillery and armour, there ain't fucking too much bigger weaponry from an army perspective anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's little wonder that because I reckon when we first met, you said 2017, but I'm like I'm positive. I'm like I always had armored core background for you, not knowing your full story, of course.
Yeah.
So I always remembered you being from in an armored core unit anyway, not background unit.
Yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. They've got a brotherhood there and a culture there that I think I missed for years.
Yeah. It's that black beret, mate. Having something different, having something that no other fucker has, whatever colour that is or whatever that is, whether it's a bloody plume out of your
slouch.
Yeah,
you're right, man.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Whatever it is. You know what I mean? Look at the aviators with their blue beret and the berets we get to have as well. Like it's just having something different and being in that close, like you're either in or you're not.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it was cool. It was and they bring you in and they make you a part of that. You know, I'm not a tanky or anything like that, but they bring you in, man, and it's cool. It was an absolute honour working in that unit for the 3 years that I did. That was really cool.
Good on you. I love hearing that as well.
Yeah. So it anyway, that came to an end and it was time.
Yeah.
I tried to pull the trigger as early as I possibly could because
pull the trigger being discharged.
Discharged, thank you. Yeah, that's right. So I was shitting bricks. I was nervous as hell. Okay, so going back, I started 2005. I worked at a Video Easy. I hadn't done anything else. And I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't know, exactly what I was going to do. So, I was, I wanted to spend my long service leave. The IC at the time wouldn't support that. It wasn't until much later down the track, man, that I was informed that there are other avenues I could have taken in order to get that time. And I was super bitter about that. Because I wanted I'd earned that time and I wanted that time, man. I wanted to chill out. I wanted to get the courses I needed, and then I wanted time to transition, man, and to find some work.
Just process and implement a measured and effective transition plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such isn't it? We spoke about this yesterday, Daniel, but having a fucking idiot leader or a decision that from the top.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Can massively, if I can see it in your face now, you're still not happy about it some fucking decade later.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just, it's just the message out there is that if you are in charge of anyone, just fucking treat them properly because you're going to scar them for life. It's not, it's bloody, it's terrible to hear, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was,
it just made it harder than what it needed to be, I guess, right. what I'm saying.
Yeah. Stressed to the max. I was like every week that I was there, and I felt like it was starting to affect my professionalism, and I was like, it's been too long, worked too hard. I need to leave on a high note, and it's made it hard, man. Yeah.
Did you end up leaving on a high note then? I can see you getting a bit emotional about it.
Nah, it's all right. Yeah. Nah, it's all good. Yeah, definitely left on a high note.
Good on you.
You just bite down, mate. You work through. You get there. But there was, I was reaching out because I didn't know how to sort of really hunt for work at the time. On Seek and shit like that. And like anyone who knows Seek, it's very touch and go. I didn't really know how to put a resume together or anything like that. I'm trying to navigate the ins and outs of the discharge process as well as fulfill the work obligations as well. I did get offered a job with the contracting company that does service on the tanks and things like that. And when they gave me the letter of offer, I think it was for like 72K a year or something like that. And I'm looking at that, I'm looking what I was earning at the time, and I'm just like, I'm going to leave what I'm doing now, and I'm leaving because I want to move forward. And if I get this job, there's no like real career progression here. There's no opportunities to earn extra money and things like that. And I'm just, I was paying a mortgage like a lot of people are, and I'm staring down the barrel of that 30 years.
Because you bought your own home in Adelaide, hey?
Yeah, I had, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We skipped over that
couple of years. Yeah, it was a few years prior.
Yeah.
And it was, it was.
Pulled the trigger on your ADF housing entitlements? all that stuff.
No, the whole lot, mate. Yeah, that's right.
Good.
Yeah, and it was a period of time after touching base with Axon the first time when it just wasn't the time, wasn't ready or anything like that. So it was what it was, mate.
And you've still got that property in your portfolio,
mate.
The Adelaide, luckily, the Adelaide market has recovered from a very lowly place where it was
absolutely,
which is good.
Yeah, absolute bonus, stoked. So I. Speaking to one of the mates there who was a civilian contractor that did works on tanks and stuff like that, he goes, mate, you'll be sweet. He goes, you reach out, and he gave me a phone number to call up. He goes, there are these agencies that basically they'll find you work. Okay, so anyone with trade skills can be contracted out, and you just do whatever anyone wants when they want it. So, factories, wine places, mine plants and stuff like that. They'll just pick you up for periods of time. The money's excellent. And you just keep doing that until you find something that you really want to do or stick with. So I did that. And it was incredible. And I was still like shitting bricks, and I've gone down into this office. It was like all staff resources. And I walked in there, and I'm basically like, tell them a story and worried and everything like that. And she just laughed at me. She goes, the world is your oyster.
Yeah, good.
You were going to be sweet. And it was a massive weight lifted off my shoulders, man, because I'm just like, all right, I'm going to be all right.
Isn't it the contrast, that one leadership that said, no, you can't go on your long service leave, really put you on a downer, went across the bottom for a while, you had one conversation with someone, and she's like, you know what, you're going to be totally fine.
Yeah.
Boom. Words matter, don't they?
Yeah, 100%.
Your whole spirit's just lifted massively just telling this story.
Yeah, absolutely. I was stoked, and I was just, it wasn't until later I found out they were throwing the shittest jobs at me, but I was just slapping it up, mate. I didn't care.
Mate, when you've done what you've done, the shittest jobs they're throwing at you, they're not the shittest jobs.
That's right.
Way better than what you could have been.
Yeah, I remember the first one I did, I spent, it was a week in Port Pirie at the lead plant there.
Well, I'm from Port Pirie.
Yeah.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Shout out to all my listeners at Port Pirie. All one of you. It's called my mother.
Yeah. And for 6 nights straight, all I did, I was working with a few Filipino blokes and absolute legends. And there was this massive like chain conveyor, and they would go and they would pull parts of this chain conveyor up, which ran on these massive caster wheels, these seized pins inside the wheels there. And they would basically set up a drift or a piece of steel in line with that pin, and I'd just swing a hammer. And that's all I did for 6 nights, man. I just swung a hammer. And
you did?
Yeah.
Next to them?
Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah. 100%, man. And 6 nights later, $3,000, thanks for coming.
Yeah. Wow.
Just like, that's nuts. Like, I can just do this.
I did metal work at high school.
Yeah.
And then we went down, did a bit of on-the-job training, because it's got the Southern Hemisphere's largest lead smelting plant is in Port Pirie. You know that little tick that I have every now and then? That's because all the lead that's just still in my body some 50 years later, right? And yeah, we went down there and did a couple of days of like on-the-job training as 16-year-olds, to, year 11 or year 12, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I am not being a worker that goes into a massive factory. There's fucking 100 degrees in there all day, every day, 24-hour operations, shift work or whatever.
100%,
and you fucking emerge out of there after working on fucking metal. We just shout out to all those people that do it.
Yeah.
And, the microphones that we're speaking into right now have gone through, it's a process in some way, shape or form. But it wasn't for me.
No.
It's a very unique environment that you
100%.
bloody commit yourself to factory work for years and years and years and years.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
Hey?
Yeah.
6 nights a week swinging a hammer.
Yeah, I just did that. For 6 nights. It was one job. Just that 1 week, 6 nights, come in, swing the hammer, go home.
Yeah, wow.
Done. No worries. Sign me up.
Luckily, the pay was good. Imagine doing that for $70,000 a year.
No, it was never a long term job. No, but it was good, and I just bounced around. I worked at a power plant, down the southern end of in Adelaide there, and it was chill, man. It was chill. It was right next to the water. Cool breeze coming through, nice and clean. It's oil and gas sort of environment. And then from there, I ended up doing a trip up to Olympic Dam, Roxby Downs. And I did some work there. And, long story short, I went back a couple of times, ended up picking up a full-time job there.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty good. So
How many years post now? So what did you get out? 2013, 2014?
What time did I leave defence?
Yeah.
No, that was 20. Pretty sure it was 2019.
Oh, so you initially got out back then. You went, oh, okay, that's not for me. Then you did your.
No, sorry, I was thinking about getting out, and I was like, not in the position to do that.
So it went to me. I'm like, oh, 2013. That's when I got out. But I'm like, no, yeah. So then you
Got
switched trades.
Yeah,
did the trades for 5 or 6 years. Yeah, 2019, you're out.
Yeah.
So now you did your little trip up to Roxby. But you were doing fly in, fly out from back home at Tassie, though. Hey.
Yeah, I was.
Well,
so,
eventually.
Yeah. So I had a bit of a relationship breakdown. Nothing crazy or out of the ordinary there. You know, it happens, mate. And that's when I was by myself, and I'm just like, what do I want? Because I can my decision, everything now is purely on me. I don't have defence steering my life. I don't have anyone else in my life that I need to consider. What do I really want to do? Because I'm steering the ship now. And that's when I made the decision to go home. And I'm just like, I can do that now. Why wouldn't I? And I have the opportunity. I've got full-time employment, man. I can just fly in and out of work from Tassie. I can do it. So, you know, why not? Let's do it.
Good on you.
Yeah. And I was like, that's cool. I'll rent out the place that I've got here. You know, I'll work on packing up all my gear and stuff like that. I've still got the defence removal entitlement there. So I'm like, cool, use it. You know, it's meant to be.
Yep.
Do that and head down to Tassie. And so I did that. It was crazy. I didn't realise how much I loved that house. Like, so much, man. Like
the Adelaide house.
Yeah, the Adelaide house. The house
Manapara, is it?
Yeah, Manapara. Yeah. I really did. But I was just like, if I want to do the things that I really want to do, I can't sit in this house by myself all the time. Let's go recoup some time with family. So I did that. And that was great. And it was probably 6 or 7 months down the track. I was trying to get a house there, and it wasn't going to happen. They're just selling crumbs at an absolute premium price, and I couldn't justify it. I just couldn't. And that's when I reached out to Axon again, caught up with your mate.
You're like, hey, remember me?
Yeah.
I'm like, I do remember that name, actually.
Yeah.
You still serving? You're like, nope. So we jumped on a Zoom call, and then you gave me a shorter version of what sort of all that was about.
100%, man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, got the ball rolling on that. Had a look at the cost that everything was going to take and stuff like that. And I was just like, well, how can I make this as easy for myself as I possibly can? And that's when I decided, well, I could move to Roxby, and I'll move for that period of time that it would take for the investment property to build, just to alleviate the financial burden on that for a while. And I did that, and I guess I was a little bit apprehensive because there is a period of time. So after leaving the military, and a couple of mates did tell me about this. They said there'll be a time where you'll hit a low spot. Everything will be going sweet. You know, you'll have no reason to feel down, but you will. And it is a real thing. And I'm not sure exactly what it is. It's a culmination of a bit of culture shock and just your brain transitioning into a new sort of life, or just even years of not thinking optimistically because that's not the right way to think. It catches up 100%. And like, I'm not better than anyone else. And the plan that I've taken to move up to Roxby Downs, to be so remote and dislocated from family, and mates and stuff like that.
Like being in a fob out in Afghanistan.
It was, I thought I'm going to try and get ahead of this, and I'll just reach out for counselling now. And, I've got, like going for a run down the road. I've also got that person there to just, keep me from getting sad. And that was one of the best things I could have done. That
Good
was, yeah. Like I should have done it years ago. They're an excellent resource, and I learnt so much in that 12 months that, like I had to basically finish after the 12 months. They're just like, oh, do you want to, because it was just like chatting with a mate towards the end there. Beforehand, you were sort of coaching through and talking about some of the bullshit and the rubbish that goes on inside your own head there for a while for the first few months. And then you the next few months after that, you're really implementing some of the strategies that they give you. And then after that, you've just you're much more adjusted. You know, you're getting better now, and you call them up and you're just having a chat about what's been going on the last couple of months, and it's not really counselling anymore. It's just like I'm sort of taking the piss now. I should let you go so you can help someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you at liberty to share who that group was, how you found them, or like, can we help someone else that might be listening to go, that sounds like what I need?
I remember Googling VVCS because that's what I knew about at the time. They're now Open Arms, and it was easy.
Great.
It was very easy. The first conversation I had was about 10 minutes, if that. They're like, cool, we'll send you some paperwork. We'll get you in touch with someone, pardon me, and you just take it from there. And it's just phone chats, and they were really accommodating. So normally there's a bit of a district thing, like, you know, if you're in Tassie, then you speak to the counsellors we've got in Hobart or something like that. But I just spoke to the same person, you know, the whole time sort of thing, and it was a combination of just on the phone, Zoom calls, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so they don't have to be local, in fact.
No, 100%, no, not at all.
Good.
Yeah.
I guess the message there, ladies and gents, is that you just heard how easy it was. Just look up Open Arms in the particular example that Louis is putting forward here now. How long after that initial phone call do you reckon did you have your first session?
It was a couple of days later, I think.
Couple of days.
Yeah.
You know, so if someone's hurting, you know, the real thing's like, oh, it's too hard. I don't know where to start. It's going to be months till I speak to someone. Fuck it.
Yeah.
They go down a certain path.
Yeah, 100%.
Mate, it's so uplifting to hear that it's simple, it's easy, it's free, and you're speaking to someone in a couple of days.
Yeah, 100%.
So there are no excuses.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get, you know, to be able to reach out and get some help.
Yeah.
I really, really hope that helps just one person.
Yeah, 100%.
Good on you. Thanks for sharing.
No. It's all good, man. And it was it just made everything easier. Just 100% easy. I didn't realise how fucking hard I was making things for myself.
Of course,
for so long.
Well, this is what I mean. When someone hears, like, because the way the hardness that you were making it for yourself, to use your term, that's what everyone else is thinking. Yeah. It's too hard. I don't know where to start. It's going to take ages. I might as well not even bother. Yeah. That's what was going on in your head, right? If I can paraphrase properly. But you just gave someone 3 simple, easy steps. You just gave everyone. Yeah. Remember how I said before, there's 2 of us in here that everyone's listening, but no one's here. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. Yeah, that's it. So I really, really hope that no doubt. So can we make sure the Open Arms website goes in there as well, please?
Yes,
Daniel, that'd be good. Yeah. Something else happened when you went to Roxby as well.
Yeah, it's where I met my partner as well.
So good, mate. This is an uplifting story.
Absolutely cleaned up. Yeah. Yeah. So I did. I met her there. She was. So I was.
Her being Talina?
Yeah, Talina. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's where I met Talina. And just such an extraordinary chick. Yeah, she absolutely, just the talent she's got and the drive and the passion for the trade is nuts.
And specifically, what does she do up at Roxby?
Yeah, so she's a fitter as well. Mm-hmm. She works she works in the smelter area, doing maintenance in there. I'm just outside in the auxiliaries area. So she came through. She was doing her apprenticeship at the time, and came and introduced herself and everything like that. I was like, okay, yep, cool. We've got an apprentice for a couple of months. So she came through and left the area. And after that, after she'd left the area and she's sort of gone on to finish her apprenticeship, I got a text message.
They'll slide into the DMs.
Yeah, slid into the DMs. No, it was, this is, she sent me a text message. She goes, would you like to go out for dinner sometime?
Straight to that.
Straight up, 100%. Just
Jesus, you must have made an impression on her.
Well,
she's going to listen to this.
Yeah.
So be careful or be explicit. I don't care.
It's all right. You can fact check me, but she sent me that message. I remember reading it, and I'm like, oh, this is embarrassing. She's messaged the wrong person.
Oh, good call.
I
Straight bat. Dot ball. No run.
Yeah, I'm sure that says a lot about my self-confidence, but I sent her a message back. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like this is Louis. And then I got a text message back. She goes, I hope so.
Oh, that's lovely.
I'm like, oh.
How did that actually make you feel? I got
pretty
goosebumps just hearing that, mate. That's so good.
I don't really know much about anything, but I don't feel like we're sort of in that world where people really reach out like that. So that was cool. That was very cool. And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, let's do it. And the rest is history. We've been together since then.
And how long ago was that? Just put us in context.
Oh, that's nearly 18 months now.
Yeah.
And it's been gold, man. Like it's, you got two people working in a mining environment, long hours and stuff like that. It does come with its own unique challenges. We both work the same week on, but when I'm doing the night shift, she's doing the day shift sort of thing. So there's always like this mini reconnection period you go through at the end of a week.
Ships in the night and then try
100%.
and reconnect.
And someone's always dead tired as well, coming off of the night shift sort of thing.
I've never done shift work. I've done heaps of reverse cycle training.
Yeah.
But I've never done shift work for extended periods, and I would hate it. I'm sure it's something you get used to, but because I've never had to, it's just, ugh. I'll stay the fuck away. And you know what? Luckily, unless Daniel tells me we're going to start doing some night shooting, I think we're going to be okay. I'd probably look better with no lights. I would have the ugly lights on all the time.
That's right. I've got a face for radio too, mate. So that was it. And, it's been, the decision to leave the battalion and get a trade was a 7-year sort of discharge plan, and then going through that and then, taking the next steps. And it was a huge knocking back that offer, that positive offer, like, here you go, here's a job, here's a full-time job, here's work, and knocking that back, man, being how I felt at the time for $70K a year, was the biggest and best leap I've ever took. And just backing myself and going, no, I'm sure I can. And this is nothing against anyone doing that sort of work. If you're in that position, you're happy to do it. And I loved working on tanks. Like, I get it. But knocking that back was definitely the best thing. And having the confidence to go, I have to be able to find something and make this work.
Totally agree. Tell me how much you love that person who suggested that other recruitment company to you.
Oh, man. Yeah, still in touch.
Good.
do owe him a couple of beers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm good for it, mate. They come.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
Yeah.
When we did our end of build coaching session,
yeah,
I knew that there was something changed in your life. You look so much more relaxed. You look so happy. You look so buoyant. Not that you were unhappy or flat during our coachings. I really loved and maybe we'll transition into your experience with Axon in a second for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's happening, mate? What's going on in your life? You're like, it's just good up here. I've moved up here to Roxy P. Like just playing it down. I went, no. There's something else. There's something else going on. And like, I might have met someone. I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
Blokes, you can just tell it a mile away. You're smiling right now. I can't wait to meet Talina tonight at dinner.
100%.
It's going to be great.
Hopefully
you've told her some okay things about me and Axon as well.
100%.
Good.
I'm trying to get her as a client, man.
It's fine. Hopefully when I get to the end of dinner, she's kicking you under the table going, this guy's a fucking idiot. You told me he was a good bloke. What's happening? I'll be on my best behaviour, I promise.
No.
But it was so good to start the Axon story at the end, so just to see you happy and just, not only were you stoked about the outcome that you had from the services we provided you, and we'll go back to the start in a minute, just to know that you transitioned your life, you're living up there again now. I believe you guys are living in her house up there, so she had a house already?
Yeah, she's got a house up there, yeah, 100%.
So again, mate, you're not renting, guys as a reasonably new family unit 18 months down the track and now directing your finances into paying something off that you own, she owns, which is another, you remember that feeling. You're not paying 100%. Rent money's dead money when you're living in your own home. So,
absolutely.
And now, of course, you got your first investment property with us. So I just shared with you before.
Yeah.
Another property sold with one of our other clients who's got some other stuff going on. You're $100,000 up.
Yeah.
Not bad, hey?
Yeah. It just been built. Yeah. I'm stoked.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I did the coaching and all that sort of stuff, but then I introduced you to James.
Yeah.
So I refreshed your plan and refreshed your strategy, and we got the numbers checked by Deb, and actually, side note, and I wrote your success story about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago. Yeah. And I remember I put some little excerpts in there from a text message you were sending me. You were just so descriptive in the text message you were saying. And I'm sure, Daniel, as you walk back into the room, can we insert also the link to the success story that I did for Louis on our page? Because, it was just so, you were just so descriptive on the experience you were having. Yeah. And I can't remember what it was, but I was like, fucking hell, this guy's really getting into it. But I loved it that, your experience with James and eventually with Caitlin building the house and everything was just top notch. But yeah, just take us back sort of through that as you had the realisation that Deb's given you the go-ahead from a finance perspective, and this house is actually going to happen, and you're now going to go through the build and expand your portfolio.
And it was a turning point. So, moved back to Tassie and then catching up with family and everything like that. And that was absolutely golden. Coming to the decision that I need a new plan, and what do I want in the future, and how am I going to get there? And reaching out to Axon was my way of doing that, without a doubt. It was good because I guess sitting down, talking to you, and then coming up with a bit of a plan, and then obviously you start to solidify that plan. We started having a look at the preliminaries, getting the finances in check and stuff like that. And yeah, Deb's awesome. And it absolutely starts to get real. And it happened so quick. And you start to realise that you can have the things that you want and the life that you want. And it's happening. It's happening right now. And that was cool, having that plan, that direction, because I changed direction so many times. And after the relationship, after moving the house, after moving to Tassie, I go, okay, this isn't working. What can I do now? And then something that sticks, working with Axon there. And I just, it was unreal. It was awesome. Like it is so energizing when you're putting, you get in a house, man. It's not cheap, and there is some anxiety that comes with that, but it's so motivating because you're getting there. You're getting somewhere, man. Yeah.
You're dropping $700,000 on a house. Yeah. So that's the not cheap bit you're talking about.
Yeah, 100%.
But I guess give us a bit of an insight of the fact that you can continue to live your life from a remote location, knowing full well that it was all just happening for you.
Oh yeah, it was. Look, and it's for this reason that I wrote descriptive text messages, because I was so grateful for everything your team takes off of my shoulders, and having mates going through building processes on their own, and just the crap that they have to deal with, and I didn't have to deal with any of it, man.
Bandwidth in real estate, they've got to apply to it. For you don't have to. Yeah, you're right. They had to because they were doing it by themselves.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, they're doing it by themselves, but I didn't have any of those dramas, none of that stress, and it's all happening, man.
Yeah, good stuff. Tell us, I know she will love this. What's Caitlin like to say? She was your build support member. Like she was the project manager working with the builders construction team to make it all happen for you. And how bubbly is she, and how much energy she got, and like what's she actually like? What's the feeling like receiving services from her? Because she was my client back in the day. Yeah. Now obviously I brought her on and she's one of my team members. I observe it from my direction,
sure,
but you observe it from the 180, or you get to feel it. I know she would love to know, and you can tell her tonight at dinner, but let's tell the fucking world again, all three of you, how good Caitlin is.
100%. Like I'm getting answers to questions I haven't even thought of yet. Things are happening, and you get to a stage where I'm just like, oh yeah, I wonder how everything's going, and I check my inbox. There's been an email there for the last week, mate. That's how it's going. She's on top of it, and nothing gets past her, like whatsoever. I remember one of the only questions I asked, I was just like, oh, there's a fence going up, and I remember talking about fences, and she just said, leave it with me, and it was sorted. And sorting out a fence is a bit of to and fro with your neighbours and everything like that. A piece of fence is allocated to everyone that lives around there, and just sorted, mate. It was just no issues. She's on top of it every step of the way. Yeah. Again,
just one less thing you need to be able to worry about. Yeah. You found tenants, and they're in there, and they're taking care of the house, and away you go. So, good on you, mate. Mate, as we come to the end of the podcast, I mean, I hope that wasn't too daunting for you, and I just want to congratulate you on being so raw and real and honest. And it was I knew a little bit about your story, but this is what I love about doing these podcasts. I've now learnt so much more about you.
Yeah.
And we know we'll be mates for life, mate, and I love having you part of our community, and thanks for listening, and thanks for watching, and bloody listening to my voice since 2017. You've got some grit and resilience in there, which is very, very noteworthy. Thanks for being on Axon's Unleashed. Ladies and gents, I hope you loved that podcast. I certainly did. So many graphic and in-your-face messages, but lots of little subliminal ones as well, which hopefully helps everyone out. Don't forget, reach out if you need some assistance. I'm not talking about to me. I'm talking about to get yourself sorted out from a health perspective. Louis Cleaver, brother, thanks for being here. That was bloody excellent.
Thanks, bro.
Have a great day, everyone. See you later.